Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me here today. Well, you know, we've had a lot of exciting UFO news recently. It's pretty clear that this topic is gradually permeating through the media, our political system. We've been told that there have been briefings of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Even George Stephanopoulos asked Donald Trump about it a couple days ago. And we've had the show on Unidentified, which, you know, it's really quite an amazing show about UFOs, I think, so far. So you're probably wondering, like I am, what's going to happen next? Where does this all go? And what is going on? And I think there are a couple possibilities here. If you watched episode 4 of Unidentified, we had an F-18 pilot, Lieutenant Brian Graves, retired, who said that, you know, he came forward. He had seen these flying cubes off of Virginia Beach, Virginia, on the East Coast in the so-called Oceana military operating area. And he said that there were more than 60 people that had also were witnesses to these flying cubes one way or another. We were also told by the people from the USS Nimitz incidents 2004, some of whom I've interviewed at the Laughlin conference a couple months ago. You know, Kevin Day, Gary Voorhis, Jason Turner, PJ Hughes, if you saw those interviews. But we know from them that there are hundreds more witnesses from the USS Nimitz and the Princeton guided missile cruiser. So the next thing that could happen is we could have more witnesses coming forward. I mean, we've only had a trickle so far, but it's enough to sustain the TV show Unidentified on the History Channel. But we could have many more witnesses coming forward, and this could lead to congressional hearings and more information. There are thousands of witnesses, I'm sure, out there. Now, some UFO commentators have said, you know, the Nimitz incidents and the Roosevelt incidents off the East Coast, we've been having UFO incidents for a long time that have had lots of radar contact and so forth. This isn't anything special. But the difference here is this. Graves and Aucoin, I believe his name is, the other witness who was on the History Channel show, said that these flying cubes, yes, they're cubes that are surrounded by a sphere of luminosity, they were seen every time they went up during naval air exercises 2014, 2015, at least for 2 months every time they went up. I don't think we've ever had such long-term persistent contact. I mean, we've had the Phoenix lights in '97, which had perhaps 10,000 witnesses, we're told, over a course of one night. And maybe the objects came back a couple weeks later, seen by fewer numbers of people. Hudson Valley sightings in the 80s. Remember I interviewed Vinny, the former wrestling coach, that was the wrestling coach at Edgemont High School, where I went to high school. I didn't hear about this incident, and there were classmates of mine that saw this triangle over Mamaroneck High School as they're finishing a wrestling match. I didn't hear about it till a couple months ago. It's 40 years ago this happened, and those classmates never talked about it publicly because they were frightened by it. That's a lot of witnesses to come forward for events that happened quite a while back. So the Hudson Valley UFO had, you know, appeared over years over this area, New York area, Hudson Valley, the Bronx, Connecticut, other counties farther up past Westchester County, New Jersey. And then we had the Belgium sightings in '89, seen by, you know, hundreds of people at a time, chased by F-16s. But we've never had sightings like this where they were there consistently. Kevin Day told us that from the Nimitz sightings in 2004 that these objects were there for a week or maybe more. He had seen them for 3 days, he said, before he started talking to people in the command intelligence center on the ship. And they weren't saying anything, but he could tell they knew about it. So these sightings are different because they're persistent and they're there day after day. I've never heard of UFO sightings that were there day after day after day like this. So what does this mean? Well, we could be moving into another stage of contact here, where whoever these visitors are, and I don't know if they're extraterrestrial, multidimensional, from Earth, I really don't know where they're from. but there's something. And it seems to me, based on what we've heard from Luis Elizondo and Steve Justice from the TTSA group on the show Unidentified, that all the advanced nations of the world pretty much have the same military technology, and they don't know how these craft are staying up in the air for hours and hours at a time, going from stopping to hypersonic speeds in the case of the flying cubes. In the case of the Tacs, apparently, according to Kevin Day from his calculations, going somewhere near 24,000 miles an hour at maximum speed. These could be drones, but maybe not our drones. And so what I'm going to suggest to you is perhaps that these vehicles are there as a type of early contact to see how we react to them. Because I don't know about you, but these flying cubes remind me a little of the Borg from Star Trek, and I'm not totally comfortable with them, but that doesn't mean anything. It's just the unknown. And perhaps this is what this is all about. We're getting tested right now. Who's ever flying these objects, and this is just a hypothetical, could be seen. Who's ever flying these objects could be looking at how, who's ever flying these objects could be just seeing how we react, because they've never been in our airspace like this, where they're seen day after day after day. And it gets a lot of press attention, and someone even brings it up, the issue up to the President of the United States to see what they think. We know the Senate Intelligence Committee is dealing with it. So this could be a type of test to see how ready we are for contact, to see how we react. It just could be something like that. Because how we react to this could determine how future contact comes. And think about how if we had discovered a tribe in a rainforest somewhere, we might just send drones over to see what they're doing, what they're like, how they react to us. Are they going to start, reacting in a hostile manner to us or not? So perhaps how we react to these Tic Tacs and flying cubes, if they're still going on right now as of 2019, will determine what sort of contact we get. It could be kind of like what Jacques Vallée suggested, like a social barometer, just to kind of test the temperature, our social temperature, how we react to unknown phenomena. Because at this moment, nobody really knows what these are, and they don't really seem to be anybody's technology that we know about on Earth. It could be the case that they are, but there hasn't been any evidence presented yet at all that suggests that they are. So this is all of us going into this kind of unknown, and perhaps this is how things are going to be for a while. Things are going to start showing up. First they show up in military operating areas, and they see how the pilots react, how the military system reacts. Then they could be coming to your town soon and just hovering and kind of showing up. I don't know, this is one scenario. They could start hanging out near other populated areas and just hanging out in the airspace above big cities like this here in New York City. I don't know, but this could be one scenario, and they could be just measuring our reaction and seeing how we react to kind of gauge their next move. So this is one possibility of what's going on. I'd like to hear what you think. Please put your comments in the box below, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care for now, and bye.